right that if this is going to be the beginning of the apocalypse, then the last movie that I see in theaters is going to be one that divides us all. It's going to be a very divisive movie, and you know what? I'm all the way here for it. The Hunt is a film that is directed by Craig Zolan, or Zoloft, or something like that, and it's a movie that stars Betty Gilpin, stars Emma Roberts, it stars Hilary Swank, it stars Ike Barinholtz. This is a movie that is basically described as extreme satire for people that are leaning one way or the other politically. The story of this movie centers around this group of people that get kidnapped. They wake up, they don't know where they are, they don't know what the hell's going on, and all of a sudden, individually, each member of their group starts getting targeted and hunted and killed by these unknown people that are hunting them. So there's this woman played by Betty Gilpin in the group. Her name is Crystal, and she and the rest of these people have to try to survive and turn the tables on the people that are hunting them and figure out why they're doing it in the first place. Like I said, this is a film that is described as satire. It's a movie that is definitely trying to take aim at different prevalent issues, different ideologies that exist in our society today. It's one of those movies that definitely is probably going to piss off a bunch of people because it tries to make fun of a lot of those people. In that sense, it's an equal opportunity movie that definitely has messages that it's trying to get across, and it actually has a pretty interesting look at the way that we react to things on social media, the way that we process information that is given to us nowadays. Like, I like the way that they presented that in this movie. But all that said, this has to be a movie that entertains you too. All that political stuff and the satire and the messages and all that don't mean a damn thing if the movie is not entertaining. I think that a movie like this works the best if you can have fun watching it, where you can separate the politics from it and just enjoy it as a movie. I gotta say, as somebody who's not really into politics all that much, I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it. I was entertained by it. They did their job in my book. Betty Gilpin is the best thing about this movie, easily. She's the best character. She's the smartest character. She is the most badass person in the movie, easily, hands down. I haven't really seen much of this actress before, and I'm sure somebody in the comment section is going to tell me that I've been missing out on this or that or the other thing or something that she's been in. Like, okay, I get it, guys. Based on how she is in this movie, I gotta say, this is kind of like a star turn for her. Like, she dominates this movie the way that Samara Weaving dominated that movie that came out last year. What was it called? Ready or Not. That's what it was called. It was called Ready or Not. Yeah, the way that Samara Weaving dominated that movie, that's the same way that Betty Gilpin dominates this one. Interesting thing about the setup of this movie and the action in it is that the characters, you're not really sure who's the main character at first. Like, this movie does a good job building up a certain tension in the sense that you don't know who's gonna die next. There are so many random acts of violence and kills in this movie. Definitely nothing too gory or nothing that you haven't seen before. But the way that the story plays out and the pacing of the movie, you're not really sure until a little bit of the ways in what character you're supposed to be rooting for. So there's kind of a very fun element to the early scenes because you're like, okay, I'm rooting for this person because they seem like they're the main character. Oh shit, they just got killed. Kind of carries on like that for a while with that sense of you don't know who's going to survive and who's not going to survive. In that sense, it's kind of like Hunger Games meets Suicide Squad meets satire, and that's what this movie is to me. That's what it feels like. One of the best individual one-on-one fights that I've ever seen exists at the end of this movie. I'm not going to spoil anything else about it, but it definitely will remind people of Uma versus Vivica Fox from Kill Bill, or, you know, Uma versus Ella May or whatever in the second movie. Like, those type of fights, it's like that, except even more badass, even more hardcore. The satire, one way or the other, like I said, you're going to be pissed off, but you might also be entertained. There are some legitimately funny, tongue-in-cheek moments and jokes in this movie that mix well with the tone. I will say, however, that some of the dialogue and some of the jokes feel a little bit on the nose. They feel a little bit forced. Like, it's one of those things that makes you wince when you hear some of it. There was a cleverness and a snark to some of the dialogue in this movie that was kind of missing, and I feel like could have elevated some of the funny moments. As it turns out, some of the funny moments do fall flat because I feel like they try to beat you over the head with the joke, and it's not as subtle as I think. A more subtle hand probably would have pulled it off better. People have a tough time separating politics from movies nowadays. Matter of fact, people have a hard time separating politics from anything nowadays. Even with the coronavirus and the way that that's being handled, there are a whole bunch of big political debates that spring up online about this type of thing. All I'm gonna say is that even though it's divisive, it's a movie that is definitely not leaning one way or the other or not trying to tell you how to feel. It's pretty much just making fun of everything. You get that in a movie that's entertaining, and I had a good time. The Hunt was actually a really entertaining, kick-ass movie. I'm gonna leave this one in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. This might actually be the last movie review that I do for a movie that's in theaters for a while, because we know that movies are getting canceled and postponed. We all know that the schedule is going to be kind of crazy the next few weeks. The CDC, I think, just recommended that there shouldn't be any gatherings in the next 2 months for crowds larger than 50 people. So I say all that to say, guys, be safe, take the right precautions. It doesn't matter if you don't take this seriously. There are people that are affected by this, and we should just, you know, be on the safe side. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry, you know, that whole thing. Does not mean that I'm not going to be doing reviews, though. I have a lot of other videos videos that I'm working on. I have a review for World War Z that I'm probably going to drop tomorrow. Guys, tell me, did you like The Hunt? Have you not seen The Hunt? What is your favorite political satire movie of all time? Drop that in the comment section below. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.